You're holding a piece of glass, no buttons, no keyboard. Just a smooth, uninterrupted surface that somehow knows exactly what you want to type. But in 2006, Steve Jobs almost killed this idea. He almost gave you a physical keyboard. And the reason why will take us back to a courtroom in 1714, a secret society of mechanics, and a queen who couldn't speak. But before we unravel this mystery, quick favor, if you're curious like me, hit that like button. It helps more people discover these hidden stories. Let's start with what you think you know. January 9th, 2007. Steve Jobs walks onto a stage and changes everything. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. That moment. That reveal. But here's what they didn't show you in that presentation. Just 8 months earlier, Apple's entire iPhone team was in crisis mode. The touchscreen, it barely worked. You had to press so hard your finger hurt. And when you tried to type? Forget it, the software keyboard missed every other letter. So Apple's engineers proposed a solution: add a slide-out physical keyboard. Just like the BlackBerry, just like the Sidekick, make it safe. And for 3 weeks in 2006, that's exactly what they built. So why didn't they? Why did Steve Jobs bet everything on a technology that didn't even work yet? To understand that, we need to go back. Way back. Texas Instruments releases something nobody asked for, a calculator small enough to fit in your pocket. But there's a problem, a massive problem. How do you put a full keyboard on something the size of a cigarette pack? Answer: you don't. Instead, TI's engineers invented something called multi-tap. Each button does multiple things. You press fewer buttons. You accept that it's harder. But it's possible. And this compromise, this less is more philosophy, it spreads. Watch. 1975. Digital watches with tiny buttons. 1983. Pagers with numeric codes. 1992. The first text message sent on a phone with just number keys. You remember this, right? T9 texting? Press 444 for I? Press 555 for L? Your thumbs learned an entirely new language just to say I love you, and everyone accepted it. Because the alternative, carrying a full keyboard in your pocket, seemed impossible. But here's the thing, it wasn't impossible. Someone had already done it. And when I tell you who invented the portable keyboard and why they invented it, your mind is going to explode. Let's go back to 1868, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A newspaper editor named Christopher Latham Scholes is working in his garage on a machine that seems insane, a mechanical device that can print letters faster than a human hand can write, the typewriter. But Scholes hits the same problem as the iPhone engineers would. 138 years later, the keyboard keeps jamming. His solution? Slow the user down. Deliberately, he arranges the letters in the most inefficient way possible. Common letters far apart. Frequent combinations requiring awkward finger reaches. He calls it QWERTY, and it's designed to make you slower. But here's where it gets wild. By 1890, this terrible, inefficient keyboard layout has become the standard. Every typewriter manufacturer copies it. Why? Because humans learned it. Millions of people train their fingers to this bizarre pattern. And once you've trained millions of people, you can't change. You're locked in. Fast forward, 1950s. Computer keyboards use QWERTY, 1980s. PC keyboards use QWERTY, 2000s. BlackBerry keyboards use QWERTY, even though it makes no sense. Even though it was designed to slow you down, even though better layouts exist. We're still using a keyboard designed to fix a mechanical problem that hasn't existed for 50 years. So, when Apple's engineers proposed adding a physical keyboard to the iPhone in 2006, they weren't just suggesting a feature. They were suggesting we stay trapped forever. Think about it. If the first iPhone had shipped with a QWERTY keyboard, what would you be holding right now? A phone with a keyboard. Because every phone after it would need a keyboard. Every app would be designed for a keyboard. Every user would expect a keyboard. We'd be locked in. Just like we've been locked into QWERTY for 150 years. But Steve Jobs saw something nobody else did. Let's go all the way back. London, 1714. Queen Anne sits on the throne of England. But she has a problem nobody wants to talk about. She can't write. Not because she's illiterate, she's the queen, but because she's sick. Her hands shake uncontrollably. Her eyesight is failing. Writing a single letter takes hours and leaves her in pain. So her engineer, Henry Mill, builds her something revolutionary, the first recorded mechanical writing device, a machine that lets her press keys instead of holding a quill. The patent, filed in 1714, describes an artificial machine for the impressing or transcribing of letters singly or progressively one after another. It's the world's first typewriter, built for someone who couldn't use a pen. And here's the beautiful part, the hidden chapter nobody tells you. Every single advancement in typing technology, from that moment to now, has been driven by the same thing, making it easier for people who struggle. 1714. Queen Anne's typing machine for shaking hands. 1868. Scholl's typewriter for people who can't write fast. 1960. IBM Selectric for people who make mistakes. 1973. Calculator buttons for people without desk space. 2007. iPhone touchscreen for people without training. The touchscreen keyboard isn't worse than QWERTY. It's different. It's accessible. You don't need to learn T9. You don't need typing classes. You don't need strong fingers or perfect dexterity. You just touch. Want to know the real twist? Steve Jobs didn't bet on touchscreens because he thought they were better. He bet on them because he watched his mother try to use a BlackBerry. According to Tony Fadell, the iPhone's lead designer, Steve brought a BlackBerry prototype home over Thanksgiving 2005. His mother, Clara, tried to type on it. She couldn't. The buttons were too small. The combinations too complex. She handed it back and said, "This isn't for me." And Steve realized, if his mom couldn't use it, billions of other people couldn't either. The keyboard wasn't making phones accessible. It was making them exclusive. So he killed the keyboard. Not because touchscreens were perfect, but because they could become perfect. Because software can change. Hardware can't. So here we are, back where we started. You're holding a piece of glass with no buttons. And you can type on it, fast, maybe even faster than you could on a physical keyboard. But it's not magic. It's 300 years of people asking the same question. How do we help people who can't use what we've already built? Queen Anne couldn't hold a quill, so Mill built a machine. Scholl wanted to print faster, so he built the typewriter. T needed pocket-sized devices, so they minimized buttons. Steve's mom couldn't use a BlackBerry, so he killed the keyboard. Every revolution in typing technology happened because someone refused to accept that the current solution was good enough. And that's why you don't have a keyboard in your pocket right now. Not because touchscreens won, but because someone asked, what if we started over? The iPhone almost had a physical keyboard. Almost locked us into another century of compromise. Almost made technology less accessible, not more. But sometimes the best way forward is to throw out everything we think we know and ask, what if we're doing this for the wrong reasons? That's the real hidden chapter. Not that the iPhone could have failed, but that it almost succeeded in the worst possible way. If this story blew your mind, smash that like button and subscribe for more reverse histories. Drop a comment telling me, which technology do you think we're still doing wrong? What's the next thing we need to completely rethink? Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. I'm your name, and I'll see you in the next chapter.